Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. See, in times like today where, the liberals, or the leftists, whatever doesn't go their way, their response is to, whine, cry, bitch and moan, and to try to get something that they want because their freedom of speech and thought and all that stuff are the only rights that exist. Yours, the conservative, doesn't matter. And that takes us to a town called Seattle, Washington, which is like a mecca for these leftist crybabies. See, there's a law on the books in Washington. In fact, I'm going to quote it. And the ordinance, or the statute rather, is RCW 9.41.290. And I'm going to read that. So stick with me for a second, because I don't want to screw this up. It says, the state of Washington hereby fully occupies and permits the entire field of firearms regulation, the tyranny of regulating firearms, within the boundaries of the state, including the registration, licensing, possession, purchase, sale, acquisition, transfer, discharge, transportation of firearms, or any other element relating to firearms or parts thereof, including the ammunition and reloader components. And cities and towns and counties or other municipalities may enact only those laws and ordinances relating to firearms that are specifically authorized by state law, as in RCW 9.41.300, and are consistent with this chapter. Such local ordinances shall have the same penalty as provided for by state law. Local laws and ordinances that are inconsistent with, more restrictive than, or exceed the requirements of state law shall not be enacted and are preempted and repealed, regardless of the nature of the code, charter, or home rule status of such city, town, county, or municipality. So before I even get into anything about what's going on right now, this law, the state law, says no city or town in the state of Washington can enact anything that is counter or more restrictive than the state laws that are on the books related to firearms and the control of such. Now, you know how I feel. It shouldn't be laws controlling all this anyway, but this is the case in Washington. That's the law they have. So, because the crybaby liberal that is today's, Democratic Party, basically, not all Democrats, but the mayor of Seattle, Washington, decided, you know what? Screw you, state. I'm going to do my own thing, even though it blatantly violates that law that I just read, and the simple signing of the ordinance that she signed, causing this to become law, and I'll go into that in a second. It's not a law, because this state law says it's already preempted and repealed the second she signed it. And what is this law? So this law, first off, I'll put a picture here of this mayor in Seattle. Her name is Jenny Durkin, and she's a clown. But the ordinance that she put up and signed, it's an ordinance that requires a locked container for a firearm inside of a house. It also has some other part of it that has to do with reporting of a stolen or lost firearm. Now, her law that she passed says that in your own private residence, where the government has no say, that was the whole reason of, the battle for independence, to keep government out of our private lives. The government now, Seattle, says that once you enter your private residence with a firearm, if it's not physically on your body, you have to have it in a locked container. And there are all kinds of proponents for both sides of this argument. Massachusetts has a similar type law. There are those that are like, hey, the gun is for self-defense. Something goes bang in the night and is walking into my house and is armed and my family is in trouble. I should be able to respond accordingly. And that would be to have a firearm at the ready to do business. The other side is, we need to have these things secured at home. What if a child gets a hold of it? What if the dog decides he wants to play with it? You know what I mean. I'm not going to make fun of any situation that has happened, but those are the two sides of the fence. And you all watching this lie somewhere in there somehow, okay? Myself included. So rather than to put the onus on the individual, Seattle says, you know what? I'm making the decision for you because you are incapable of thinking on your own, you peasant. Now, the law she passed, like I said, if you follow the state law, it already is preempted and stricken from the record. So, Seattle, if you're watching this, and please, if you know somebody in Seattle, forward this, that law is already illegal. It's already unconstitutional according to your state laws. So, do what you choose to do, but do it informed. All right, don't just go off a willy-nim and just start going crazy and draw attention to you. Because remember, the red flag bill is a law up there now too, which I believe was done prior to this for this reason. Okay, if you make a fool of yourself, you act an ass, then you're going to draw attention to yourself. Some neighbor in that town is going to say, I think he's a risk to himself or others, and he's already said he has a gun and doesn't want to lock it up. There you go. That's all they need. So you have the state law. I've given it to you. I'll have a link to the state law down below. I'll also have a link to the ordinance that this mayor signed into law for Seattle within the city limits. You know, the unconstitutional tyranny violation, the infringement, however you want to call it. That's exactly what it is. It even violates state law that's been on the books. So just giving you a heads up of what these people are trying to do when things don't go their way. There's a law stopping my stupidity. Well, I'm just going to do my stupidity anyway, and hopefully the sheep will back me. That's what it's coming to. Please pass this along. This is something that even I, in all the research I've done over the last few years across the country, even I haven't seen something this brazen. The red flag bill is close. I thought that was like, I've seen it all until this, but this just is amazing because it flies right in the face of the state law. And it's a preemptive law, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. Challenge me. So, Seattle, step up and challenge her the right way. Bring some headlines to her, and educate her about the own law that she is sworn to protect and uphold and follow. Maybe teach her about the Constitution and this here Second Amendment thing. Until we see each other again, this is Jared from Guns and Gadgets. Please pass this along like it's wildfire. It would greatly help the channel and help me get some word out across the country what is actually going on out there. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. Take care, everybody.